Hello, hope everyone is doing well. Today, what we have on the docket is some commentary on gameplay for Astro Boy Omega Factor. Um, Looking at this as a speed run. The category we'll be covering today is Rebirth, which is basically New Game Plus. Um, and this game is played on the Game Boy Advance. We use emulators for this game. I don't think anyone has hooked up capture cards to native hardware and done runs on that, so we're all using emulators for this game. And the version for Rebirth is Japanese. So for those who are familiar with this game from the US or European versions, this will look different. The rooms are different, the waves of enemies are different, and a few gameplay mechanics are slightly different, which we'll talk about throughout this run in some of the sections where there's not much going on. I can cover some of those things. So, anyways, the run playing in the background is going to be a speed run that was completed today, actually, May 24th. As of today, this is the world record for this game. So my plan is to talk about various strategies, what I'm going for in the different rooms, things to look out for, ways to stay, able to adapt to the various RNG that you're going to see, as well as, possible optimizations we can do in the future, or ways we could, maybe use less safe strats to get better times. So that's the goal for today. Hope it's informative and entertaining. I'm just going to press play on the run and kind of just commentate on what was going on throughout the run. I don't plan on pausing it unless I see something super intriguing, but my plan is basically just to let this play for the entire 27.5 minutes that it takes to get through the game. So here we go. So we'll start off just punching these 6 guys. Punches in Japanese version are substantially faster than the US version. So we will, in a lot of rooms, leverage punches in places we would have either done finger lasers or arm cannons in the other versions. So you'll see that throughout the run. This is New Game Plus, so we have lots of points in our punch and our laser from the birth part of this game. Those are both maxed out. And then we'll be maxing out shot throughout the rest of this run. That room is strictly to punching people. I jumped there on accident, and that was a mistake. Basically just kind of walk/dash back and forth and kill everything as it spawns. So that's the same for this room. We're trying to kill things as fast as possible so the next guys spawn. This room, finger laser in groups of 2 as they fall from the sky. Pretty straightforward. And then this is a very RNG room as far as where the guys spawn, so you just kind of have to improvise and just stay steady and confident in your fundamentals with being able to dash and punch. The stoplight, a dash, a punch, and an arm cannon will take care of him, and then we need to dash all the way to the right here, and then just punch these guys that spawn. So this is one of those rooms that's not super interactive, but here we are. This room, small bees, they spawn on either side, so you stand on the right side, finger laser the guys on the left, and that's all true up. This one you have to dash, and you really want to land on this second step here where I'm landed. This is ideal, because then you can punch these guys and not get them to bounce behind you, but also don't get pushed off the map. This room, things die in groups of 2 punches, so you focus on punching twice. That way we don't have kicks knocking guys all over the room and kind of delaying your ability to damage them. This floor, all the small guys just fall down in random places, so you just walk around and punch them. The punch actually has a pretty big hitbox, like much larger than your character's sprite, so you can take advantage of that a lot of times by punching like earlier than it kind of looks like you should be able to. That room there, we had to kill the big red guy, and then we just kill whatever little guys are left. If you kill the little guys, they continue to spawn if the big red guy is alive. This room we take advantage of the fact that we have several points in the jets, so we have 6 dashes total. Spiders, it's basically the same as spiders in New Game, except you have more jets, so we have opportunities to take advantage of that. Now there I kind of panicked and screwed up. I shouldn't be finger lasering there, that's a mistake. There's opportunities there for me to optimize that and put that a lot better, like have an extra dash in between some of those spiders so I didn't fall on the ground, but after kind of messing up the first few, I just took the save. This spider is the same, punch him a couple times, arm cannons up a couple times. He's dead. Talk to our friend here. There's no point to allocate, so we go straight on to the Magnemite fight, which is the same as it is in Birth or New Game. It's just a punch and a laser at the right time. I actually punched early there. That was mistimed on my part, so I lost a little time there. But you just listen to the sound effects and watch the animation, kind of learn the timing to start your punch. Do that 4 times, and you'll die. So here's our first auto-scroller. This is the main reason we play this on Japanese as opposed to the US version, is the auto-scrollers are much faster. So while the enemies in general are beefier, especially the bosses in Japanese version, the extra speed you gain from the auto-scrollers being so short actually ends up being faster. So right now we're having some very interactive gameplay as I hold down the laser button and don't move. This screen, kill the fish at the top and bottom, kill all the blues that spawn. Here we need to proc those proximity mines while we're killing the bee, so you kind of move briefly forwards there. 2 more mines to kill, and then all the mines fall from the sky. You just kind of stay up there and they all kill themselves. So those rooms are like kind of scary from a casual perspective, but they're actually really easy once you know the strats to get through them quickly. The bee fight is exactly the same. 2 arm cannons. We got some red fish that you can't even really see spawn because they die so fast. We're going to have 2 waves of rockets. This first one you don't really care about, but the second one, importantly, you want to kill the last rockets right there so the blue wave spawns faster. And that's the end of it. So we save several seconds there, 7 to 10 I think, over the US version in that room alone, and then the other auto-scrollers later are you saving more time. Artificial Sun is a little different because he's actually able to be damaged as soon as he starts moving. So you use your arm cannon sooner than you would in the American version. And then the second half of this fight is the same. It's just 3 arm cannons and then a finger laser to kill him, and you just kind of have to stay out of his little sun tentacle fire things so you don't get damaged. Talk to Pook, talk to the Amazing 3, and then this fight is simply a jump, 3 punches, and an arm cannon. So the maze section, because it's Rebirth, we have points and jets, so it's a lot faster, and because it's Japanese, there are no bats. So it's also less risky. Get to the dialogue, we do an arm cannon and a finger laser, and then we're free to go on to the next section. And because again we have jets, you need to dash through all that. These golems require 2 arm cannons and then a combination of either 2 punches, 2 finger lasers, or you can mix those. The finger laser and the punches, because they're both maxed out, do the same damage, so you get to choose whichever one you want to use based off, you know, enemy placement, your ability to improvise or recover, and just, you know, kind of whatever you feel comfortable with. So in that case, 2 finger lasers is easy because there's 4 of them. They're spread across the whole screen, so it's much better just to finger laser than it is to punch 4 things individually. The elevator section, you dash back and forth. Remember that bees die in 2 punches, so don't start kicking them and having them flying everywhere. And then you want to end on the right side. So if the last bee spawns on the left side, just walk over to the right before you lose control of your character. That way you save time on this animation right here. Otherwise, you would have watched me walk across that manually without having control over my character. I guess not manually, automatically, without having control over the character. The Pook fight, I mess up here a little bit. Actually, several times. This is really the worst part of this run. So I'll say what I was trying to do. With the lion section, you're supposed to do 2 punches, and then dash to the other side and laser him. I did it too slow there. The fish is 2 punches and arm cannon immediately, so that's just really tight timing. The bird is 2 punches, a dash away, and then a laser, arm cannon, and then the monkey is really hard to get him to not hit you. I don't have a good consistent strat for it, so I just kind of do the 2 punch and dash method and hope that I hurt him. Like, this is much better, although then he goes off screen here, which is rough. Or he goes invuln, rather. So I know that's really fast, but basically 2 punches and an arm cannon do enough damage for each of those phases, so then you just have to figure out the best way, based off enemy type, to achieve the 2 punch plus arm cannon attacks you want to use. So here, we're just trying to dash around and kill these guys as fast as possible. Each guy takes 2 punches to kill. And it's RNG on which side they spawn on, so just take them as they come. Silo, super simple. Just go up to the top, dash through, kill the blue guys. So this section, there's going to be 2 waves of 4 enemies. So you can see I had 3 spawn on the left this time and 1 on the right. What you really want here is then on the second wave to kill everything on the left, because you exit on the right side. So this time I had 1 enemy on the left, I killed him first, went over to the right, and then I could leave pretty quick. You don't have to arm cannon those upside down blue guys. You can just jump and punch them. I personally am very bad at it because the gravity is really weird here. It's very heavy. So I just arm cannon for safety. I know that's slightly suboptimal, but it's consistent for me, which is sometimes better when the time loss is fairly minimal. These guys are kind of similar to the other room, where they spawn on either side, and the number that spawns there is random each time. Main difference being there's 3 waves instead of 2. Also, the gravity is very light in this room, so it's kind of awkward to hop around. That's why I just kind of killed them all at the bottom there. You can definitely do that better, both from an execution standpoint and RNG. This guy is a punch laser, and then dash to this right side, punch laser. And then if you're doing this optimally, you'll dash back left and laser 1 more time. I failed to do that, so then I had to jump, and it was really awkward, but you can see that it kills them with that amount of damage. And kill the blue guys that spawn, and dash over. This room is straight just movement tech. There's no enemies, nothing. So you can see what I do. I'm sure there's a couple places where I'm suboptimal. I'll let myself fall to the floor instead of finding slightly better ways to do it, but here we are. The main thing, though, like the big kicker, is you really need to get this cycle, which I just barely got through, so that's the important part. I'm not getting stuck by those pillars. This screen, there's going to be big guys that spawn at the bottom and small guys that spawn at the top. I actually use a lot of audio cues to know when there's big guys at the bottom. You can kind of hear them like squeaking around up there or down there. That's how you know they're down there. It's also how you know when you're done, because you don't hear that noise anymore. Then there's 1 more left because of the noise. You just dash to the top. Atlas fight, spam arm cannon as soon as the fight starts. So you're going to do 2 of those, and then a finger laser to finish phase 1. Phase 2 I've not found a good strategy for. I have not found a good way to push him around and manipulate him to ending where I want him to be without being really slow. So I just take this super casually and arm cannon him 3 times and let him do it a few once. He usually ends up a little far to the right as far as where I actually want him to be, but it's not that bad. He just has to move over there. Actually, that was pretty close. That was a decent one. So I'm putting points in shot right now. The main goal with shot is to have shot maxed out by the time you get to Brontis, which is the 3rd boss in the boss rush. So just knowing how many points you get, that's what we're doing here. This screen is random on which side they spawn on. I got all 8 to spawn on the left side, which is ridiculous and hilarious. If they spawn on the right side, which almost always you'll have at least 1 do that, you just finger laser to kill him and stay on the left side. Here you just dash back and forth. Again, RNG on which side they spawn on. I took a shot there on accident. I was not perfect, but it's fine. So the next 2 sections are super boring. This one is basically identical to the US version, where you kill all these guys on the platforms, and then you kill a mini boss at the end. The next room is very different than the American version. The American version has a bunch of small guys on floating platforms, a lot of spikes, just a bunch of different waves, mixes it up a lot. Got some rockets in there too. In the Japanese version, it is basically a copy of this room. It's just the same thing, which is kind of lame. So, I'm trying to think what to talk about throughout the rest of that room. This mini boss here and the one in the next room is just 2 arm cannons and a finger laser. You just stand in the middle and it won't hit you. I guess the other big difference between Japanese and American is that you don't get to see the health on the bosses and mini bosses, which is kind of a bummer when you're playing casually and trying to learn. From a speedrun perspective, we just memorize the patterns to kill them as far as what attacks use, so it's not a huge deal. Because outside of Pluto, basically every boss has a known attack pattern or a known way to manipulate it into a way where you can use a standard attack pattern. Actually, Pook is not that way either. I mean, Pook is RNG as far as which things spawn, but we know what we're supposed to do on each phase of the fight. It's just more a matter of execution. Pluto, as best we can tell, is just a ton of randomness. I'm sure it's not actually random. Obviously, there's an algorithm behind it, but our ability to manipulate it has yet to really show anything of merit. Carib Spite, take 3 lasers on the left side, take a bit of damage, and then dash to the right and 3 more lasers to finish them off. Super simplified. Alright, the next couple floors are just a lot of punches. Where the guys spawn is pretty random. A lot of improvisation. Again, it's really trying to have good fundamentals on when to use your punches, when to not use them and be dashing around, and how to react to the various spawns that are going to happen, that are going to be different on every run. So you just gotta kind of go with the flow and just like keep calm and relaxed on this section, not get frustrated with them spawning in awkward places. Because it's guaranteed to happen. They're going to be awkward, you just got to kind of work with it. This last room, I punch him 4 times on the left side, then dash to his right, and then kill him. You kill the big red guy first, because the little guys will continue to spawn if the big red guy isn't dead, which is a theme you may remember from other rooms earlier in the run. This is RNG on which side they spawn on, so that wasn't a great distribution. That was actually pretty bad. This is also pretty bad. And I played that poorly and got shot, so that was a rough room, lost a little bit of time there. Your ideal situation is they all spawn on the right side in both rooms, but that's super, super rare. So like, don't plan on that. Plan on having to go back and forth and just be ready for it. This auto-scroller is also super lame, and way faster than the US version. So we're already on the proximity mine section, which is like way later in the room in the US version. Here I mess up and didn't get the bottom one. That was a huge mistake, and I shouldn't have done that, but it is what it is. Your basic goal is to dash back and forth there and get all those proximity mines to detonate by just being close to them and not having to do damage to them to get them to die. It's just much faster to get them to blow themselves up. And then this last section here is, I think, 5, if I remember correctly, 5 waves of 2 green guys each. So you just arm cannon them. It's quicker to kill them and also is actually less laggy than the finger laser. So even a finger laser, obviously you skip this animation every time, so you save a lot of time by not having wasted all the super animations. It's just slower because it's laggier and doesn't kill them as fast. These guys are decently beefy. It takes almost a full laser to kill them, so they're pretty tanky. This train here, you use 2 arm cannons at the top to kill the like little green windows and the red thing, and then you will use the second half of this arm cannon at the bottom, and then 1 more to get it to open up. I think I got good RNG this run and got the machine gun attack. I did. So this is the perfect attack when this happens first. It takes 3.5 full arm cannons to kill him, so when you get other attacks where it closes up, just kind of keep track of how much damage you've done. You basically need 3.5 full arm cannons. So if you get to a point where you're like 3.2 and then it ends and it's going to open back up, don't use another arm cannon, use a finger laser to get that last bit of damage, if that makes sense. So here I dash, I miss my kick, which is a mistake, but you use 2 kicks, that's what you're supposed to do, and then punch them to finish them off. This train car is super lame and boring, and it just spawns 8 guys on the right side. This is where I really think they kind of gave up on game design a little bit compared to the American version. It feels like a beta almost. because the American version is much more interactive here. I haven't played the EU version. I'm assuming it's the same though. Could be wrong. I think there's an EU version. Anyways, that car is the same. 8 more guys. It just is RNG on which side they show up on. Dead Cross fight. Make sure you move right a little bit, otherwise your lasers are going to push Dead Cross off screen, and then you will only be damaging his little knight there, and you'll actually be damaging him. So 2 arm cannons, a shot, 3 arm cannons, and 3 punches is the pattern here. So I did my 2 arm cannons, I did my shot. Here's arm cannon number 2 for the second set. This third one will kill the knight. Then I'm going to get hit here on accident, and then 3 punches will finish off Dead Cross. So it's much better to punch him there at the end as opposed to using another arm cannon and having that animation time in there. So that was a really good split. Obviously it's a gold split. There was a couple mistakes in there, but my first room, my 5-1, was basically perfect. So that's where I saved all that time. This floor, I'm sure there's better ways to do it. I basically just punch them in groups of 3, and that's my strategy. It is pretty okay. It's fine on the green ones. The blue ones are less good because I take a lot of damage, which I don't really care about from a damage perspective. I have plenty of life, but it has a little bit of recoil every time I take damage, which is kind of rough. So there may be, I'm sure there's a better way to do that where you don't take as much damage. I have yet to find it because every time I try to do something like that, I'm dashing around behind them constantly, and then they either block or just take so much time dashing around that I'm just doing less damage over time because I'm trying to avoid these little pink things. So my current strategy is just a face tank, for better or for worse. Same with that room. These guys, it actually is faster to punch them. I am not great at it, and I get hit a lot, so I use a safety strat and just arm cannon all 4. This room, I use 3 arm cannons on the pink guy. He is really beefy. And then I will kill any little dudes that spawn afterwards. I don't worry about killing the little guys because kill them first because they will continue to spawn if the big pink guy exists. Again, a theme you may have noticed at this point with rooms like that. Here it's probably faster to punch the rollers, but again, safety strats. That's kind of how I approach this stage. If my run has got to this point in the stage, I don't have a ton of reason to try to do, you know, like super difficult but barely more optimal strats. Like here, actually, you can finger laser twice, but it's difficult based off gravity, so I just arm cannon a 3rd time. This section, dash 4 times, dash up, dash right, and then you do a diagonal dash 5 times. It is slightly faster to go against the wall there with a horizontal dash, but I haven't figured out a good timing to avoid the rollers, so I just do that instead. It's way easier with 6 jets you can use. On Shuriku fight, you dash to the right. I like to face tank him hitting me with his sword in his hand. It's way less recoil than if you get hit by one of the floating ones. Then you go to the bottom to manipulate him into using this red attack. So that's why I stood underneath him for a little bit to get him to use this red attack. He has a green and a blue attack that he could use. They're much slower, so our entire goal is to finish this fight with only the red attack. To do that, I'll use 4 arm cannons while that snake is out there, which I just finished, and I'll use a shot to freeze him, and I'll finish him off with 1 last arm cannon. So if you do that all correct, he'll die just before his green attack would have started. The green attack costs about 12 seconds. He goes invulnerable, there's nothing you can do about it. So that was the Shuriku about as best as I can play it from a consistent standpoint. You can try other strats where you arm cannon and like maybe don't manip him till later. I don't know, but that's the only way I can figure out how to do it consistently. For North, you jump, punch, arm cannon, dash, punch, arm cannon. That was that combo right there. That will get him into phase 2. And now you just are going to use arm cannons while he uses his blue laser, and you just dash back up to basically his head height level over and over again. Every time you get hit, you just dash back up. So I need 2 more. This one, 1 more. Oh, I lied. So while he's using that blue laser, he is both vulnerable and stationary, which is why it's the best attack to get him to use. So if you just stay that distance and stay that height, he'll just keep using it over and over again, as opposed to his other attacks, which are much harder to damage. Denku is pretty similar to the fight in Birth, it just takes a little longer. So your goal is to punch him, you're actually going to punch him 4 times. then a laser, and then you do the combination of shot, laser, laser, twice. That combination is going to be crucial to this boss fight as well as the next 2 boss fights. So shot, laser, laser basically gives you enough time to get 2 full lasers, or arm cannons as I should say, get 2 full arm cannons off while they are frozen from your shot. And so we're going to use that combo a bunch here over the next couple minutes. It actually makes these next boss fights super lame. But they're very consistent, and it gives you just the amount of damage you need to kill them. So the pattern for both Brontus and Epsilon is identical. Wait till they're vulnerable, which now he is. Then you're going to do shot, big laser, okay? So shot and 2 lasers. That combination you're going to repeat 5 times. So here's my second shot. I'm going to do 2 more lasers. And then the caveat is, on the 5th rotation, after you do laser, laser for the 5th time, you do 1 extra laser. So you actually need 11 lasers, or 11 arm cannons, with 5 shots interspersed between them. On both these bosses, it turns out they have the exact same amount of health. Or a pretty darn similar amount of health, at least. So this is shot number 5, if I remember correctly. In my actual run, I'm counting out loud to myself. Don't judge, please. So here's laser number 2. And then, again, instead of doing shot here, since it was the 5th one, I actually do a 3rd laser and he dies. So shot, laser, laser. Do that 5 times, and then add a laser. That is the pattern for Brontus. That is the pattern for Epsilon. So pretty easy to remember. Just count out loud. Don't get distracted. You know, talking to yourself or thinking to yourself. I've definitely done that before and lost count. So same thing. Shot, and then laser, laser, 5 times, add a laser, go on to the next fight. So Pluto, I'll talk about that real briefly before we get to him. He has a couple different attacks he can use. He can tornado, which is really bad because he's invulnerable, so you don't want him to tornado at all. And also if he hits you with it, you like bounce all over the place. The recoil is really bad. So that's the one we want to avoid. He can use rockets, which is perfect because during rockets, the arm cannon is very fast. There's very little lag. So rockets are the best for him to use. And then he has 2 kind of like things, mediocre things. He has a purple laser and an orange laser. So you'll see both of those in the fight. I won't describe them, I'll just let you watch them. But those are both okay. There's strategies to deal with each of them. And again, I'll explain those as you see them. But what we really want to see RNG-wise is just rockets, 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 rockets. So you start with the tornado, that's fine, I dashed away from it. If he does the air tornado, make sure you use your arm cannon on him on the way down, because he is vulnerable there. So this is red laser. So the red laser strat is, as he uses it, you jump up and arm cannon him twice in the face. Actually, you can do it 3 times, depending on what his next attack is. Purple laser. You have to get dash behind him, because if you're in front of him, he will hurt you and he will kill you very quickly with that purple laser. You dash behind him. You can usually get 2 of these in. You can be risky and try to get a 3rd one. It's really hard though. So here's rockets, best one. Boom! Look how fast that is compared to the other ones. There's just no lag. It's just a really fast arm cannon. Red laser again. So he uses it. You jump. You do 2 of them. And then you kind of rinse and repeat. There's no really great way to manipulate him into using individual attacks. So you just kind of have to react to what he's doing and use the various strats. So another red laser. So another jump and 2 arm cannons. Potentially 3. Yeah, so I see purple laser, so I'm going to use 1 more, because you have a chance to use 1 while he's charging it up, and then you dash behind him for the other 2. And this actually is going to be the last laser. He's going to die here. And I'm going to split really late. I lost like almost a full second on my split there, not being ready for him to die. But yeah, that's how you deal with Pluto, and really the entire game. So I know that's kind of fast in sections where I was trying to explain things that were going on before we get to the next screen. You know, really this is probably targeted at folks who have played the game casually but are interested in, you know, maybe trying to run this game fast. Some of the things I said were specific to the Japanese version, and or specific to Rebirth. So if you play Birth on the US version, Draco has a video kind of similar to this on his Twitch channel where he explained basically every single room and how to play it, or how he plays it. And seeing as he has world record by over a minute in that category, you should definitely go watch it because he's very good and the strats are very helpful. So anyways, hope that was entertaining and informative. I kind of had fun talking through my run and going through my thought process. So hopefully that was useful for everybody else. I know I certainly enjoyed it. So thanks for watching and have a great day.